At noon, the hospital inspector arrives and abuses us. He threatens us with clink and all the rest of it. But a hospital inspector is just the same as a commissariat inspector or anyone else who wears a long sword and shoulder straps, but is really a clerk and is never considered even by a recruit as a real official. So we let him talk. What could they do to us anyways? Who threw the bottle, he asks. Before I can think whether I should report myself, someone says, I did. A man with a bristling beard sits up. Everyone is excited. Why should he report himself? You? Yes. I was annoyed because we were waked up unnecessarily and lost my senses so that I did not know what I was doing. He talks like a book. What is your name? Reinforcement Reservist Joseph Hamacher. The inspector departs. We are all curious, but why did you say you did it? It wasn't you at all. He grins. That doesn't matter. I have a shooting license. Then, of course, we all understand. Whoever has a shooting license can do just whatever he pleases. Yes, he explains, I got a crack in the head and they presented me with a certificate to say that I was periodically not responsible for my actions. Ever since then, I've had a grand time. No one dares to annoy me, and nobody does anything to me. If I reported myself because the shot amused me. If they open the door again tomorrow, we shall pitch another. We are overjoyed. With Joseph Hamacher in our midst, we can now risk anything. Then comes the soundless flat trolleys to take us away. The bandages are stuck fast. We bellow like steers. There are 8 men in our room. Peter, a curly black-haired fellow, has the worst injury, a severe lung wound. Franz Walker, alongside him, has a shot in the arm, which didn't look too bad at first. But the third night he calls out to us, telling us to ring. He thinks he has a hemorrhage. I ring loudly. The night sister does not come. We've been making rather heavy demands on her during the night because we have all been freshly bandaged and so have a good deal of pain. One wants his leg placed so, another so, a third wants water, a fourth wants her to shake his pillow. In the end, the buxom old body grumbled bad-temperedly and slammed the doors. Now she no doubt thinks it is something of the same sort and so she is not coming again. We wait. Then Fran says, ring again. I do so. Still she does not put in an appearance. In our wing, there's only one night sister. Perhaps she has something to do in one of the other rooms. Franz, are you quite sure you are bleeding? I ask. Otherwise, we shall be getting cursed again. The bandage is wet. Can't anyone make a light? That cannot be done either. The switch is by the door, and none of us can stand up. I hold my thumb against the button of the bell till it becomes numb. Perhaps the sister has fallen asleep. They certainly have a great deal to do and are all overworked day after day. And added to that is the everlasting praying. Should we smash a bottle? Asked Joseph Hamacher off of the shooting license. She wouldn't hear that any more than the bell. At last the door opens. The old lady appears, mumbling. When she perceives Francis' trouble, she begins to bustle and says, why did not someone say I was wanted? We did ring, and none of us here can walk. He has been bleeding badly, and she binds him up. In the morning, we look at his face. It has become sharp and yellow, whereas in the evening before, he looked almost healthy. Now a sister comes oftener. Sometimes there are Red Cross voluntary aid sisters. They are pleasant, but often rather unskilled. They frequently give us pain when remaking our beds, and then are so frightened that they hurt us still more. The nuns are more reliable. They know how they must take hold of us, but we would be better pleased if they were somewhat more cheerful. A few of them have real spirit. They are superb. There is no one but would do anything for Sister Libertine, this marvelous sister who spreads good cheer through the whole wing, even when she can only be seen in the distance. And there are others like her. We would go through fire for her. A man cannot really complain. Here he is treated by the nuns exactly like a civilian. And just to think of a garrison hospital gives one the creeps. Franz Wachter does not regain his strength. One day he is taken away and does not come back. Joseph Hamacher knows all about it. We shan't see him again. They've put him in the dead room. What do you mean the dead room? Asked Kropp. Well, dying room. What is that then? A little room at the corner of the building. Whoever is about to kick the bucket is put in there. There are 2 beds in it. It is generally called the dying room. But what do they do that for? They don't have so much work to do afterwards. It's more convenient too because it lies right beside the lift to the mortuary. Perhaps they do it for the sake of the others also, so that no one in the ward dies in sympathy. and they can look after him better too if he is by himself. But what about him? Joseph shrugs his shoulders. Usually he doesn't take much notice anymore. Does everybody know about it then? Anybody who has been here long enough knows, of course. In the afternoon, Franz Watcher's bed has a fresh occupant. A couple of days later, they take the new man away too. Joseph makes a significant glance. We see many come and go. Often relatives sit by the beds and weep or talk softly and awkwardly. One old woman will not go away, but she cannot stay there the whole night through. The next morning she comes very early, but not early enough, for when she goes up to the bed, someone else is in it already. She has to go to the mortuary. The apples that she has brought with her, she gives to us. And then little Peter begins to get worse. His temperature charts look bad, and one day the flat trolley stands beside his bed. Where to, he asks. To the bandaging ward. He is lifted out, but the sister makes the mistake of removing his tunic from the hook and putting it on the trolley too, so that she should not have to make two journeys. Peter understands immediately and tries to roll off the trolley. I'm not stopping here. They push him back. He cries out feebly with his shattered lung, I won't go to the dying room. But we are going to the bandaging ward. Then what do you want my tunic for? He can speak no more. Hoarse, agitated, he whispers, stopping here. They do not answer but wheel him out. At the door he tries to raise himself up. His black curly head sways. His eyes are full of tears. I will come back again. I will come back again, he cries. The door shuts. We are all excited, but we say nothing. At last Joseph says, many a man has said that. Once a man is in there, he never comes through. I'm operated on and vomit for 2 days. My bones will not grow together, so the surgeon's secretary says. Another fellow's have grown crooked. His bones are broken again. It's damnable. Among our new arrivals, there are 2 young soldiers with flat feet. The chief surgeon discovers them on his rounds and is overjoyed. We'll soon put that right, he tells them. We'll just have to do a small operation, and then you'll have perfectly sound feet. Enter them down, sister. As soon as he is gone, Joseph, who knows everything, warns them, don't you let him operate on you. That is a special scientific stunt of the old boys. He goes absolutely crazy whenever he can get a hold of anyone to do it on. He operates you for flat feet, and there's no mistake. You don't have them anymore. You have club feet instead and have to walk all the rest of your life on sticks. Excuse me. What should a man do then? Asked one of them. Say no. You're here to be cured of your wound, not your flat feet. Did you have any trouble with them in the field? No. Well, there you are. At present, you can still walk. But if once the old boy gets you under the knife, you'll be cripples. What he wants is a little dogs to experiment with, so the war is a glorious time for him, as it is for all the surgeons. You take a look down below at the staff. There are a dozen fellows hobbling around that he has operated on. A lot of them have been here all the time since 14 and 15. Not a single one of them can walk better than he could before, almost all of them worse, and most only with plaster legs. After 6 months, he catches them again and breaks their bones afresh, and every time is going to be the successful one. You take my word, he won't dare do it if you say no. Ah, man, says one of the 2 wearily. Better your feet than your brain box. There's no telling what you'll do if you go back out there again. They can do with me just as they please, so long as I get back home. Better to have clubfoot than be dead. The other, a young fellow like ourselves, won't have it done. The next morning, the old man has the 2 hauled up and lectures and jaws at them so long that in the end they consent. What else can they do? They are mere privates, and he is a big bug. They are brought back, chloroformed and plastered. It is going badly with Albert. They have taken him and amputated his leg. The whole leg has been taken off from the thigh. Now he will hardly speak anymore. Once he says he will shoot himself the first time he can get a hold of his revolver again.